Howdy folks, I'm Brian and we're gonna read some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for suggesting that my husband use some of his daughter's college fund to contribute to my son's wedding? My son is getting married in December. He's been struggling to get a new job after he left his old job, and the job search took way longer than expected. We can't afford the whole wedding now, and we can't change the wedding date since his fiancée refused. So I asked my husband if he could take some of his stepdaughter's college fund to pay for the wedding. My husband was upset and told me that he was surprised that I even suggested this, and that his relationship with his daughter was already severe enough, and that taking money away from her college fund would destroy the relationship completely. He said that this would tell his daughter that my son is more important than her. He yelled at me and told me to drop it. My husband seems upset with me, even though it's been a week since we had this conversation, and is refusing to discuss it further. Edit. I did say to him that I'd pay it back, but he lashed out at me and said the best option is to postpone my son's wedding, and that my fiancé is being controlling and demanding that we don't change the date, and I'm saying that it's not my wedding and I don't have a say. Also, I have a good relationship with my stepdaughter, and she's very smart. To be honest, she doesn't know her dad and I had this conversation, and I don't know whether she would be okay, but my husband has already given me an answer. So, it sounds like you keep bringing this up. So, if that's the case, then yes, you are a jerk. You should have just left it alone the first time and, accepted the answer. If this was one time and he lashed out at you and was angry and yelling and stuff like that, then I would be more inclined to say that he's more of the jerk here. But if you're harassing him and constantly bringing this up and saying, well, can we just borrow the money? Well, can we just borrow the money? And he feels like this is going to ruin the relationship that he has with his daughter, then that's not cool. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not wanting to call my second grader's teacher Dr. Smith? I have a son who's in the second grade in a public school in the US that is fully remote. During the first week of school, I listened in on the class. My son's teacher, whom had signed the only email we had from her as Dr. Sarah Smith, told the kids that my name is Dr. Sarah Smith, but you don't need to call me doctor because I know that can be confusing and because I'm not a medical doctor, so you can just call me Sarah, or Miss Smith. Our school's norm is calling the teachers and staff by their first name. Filed this info away for my own self and went on about my day. A few days later, all the teachers met with the families to get to know each other. My son's teacher came in to call and introduce herself as Dr. Sarah Smith. She was quite the talker and spent a lot of time talking about her background and credentials, but seemed pleasant and excited about her job. Near the end, I asked Miss Sarah, can we access the school library? And she said, actually, it's Dr. Smith. I was taken aback because I had recalled her telling my son that they could call her Miss Sarah. I couldn't figure out how to respond and I felt rushed, so I quickly apologized for getting her name wrong and we signed off. Meanwhile, I've been helping my son with his work. I've been noticing that she signs her messages to the students with Miss Sarah and Dr. Sarah Smith to the parents. In class, the students were calling her both Sarah and Miss Sarah, and I was confused. Fast forward to this week when we had our second parent-teacher meeting. Once again, my teacher jumped in headlong into our meeting without much greeting and spent most of the time talking. When I finally had the chance to speak, I once again addressed her as Miss Sarah, and she once again corrected me, saying, actually, it's Dr. Smith. So I said, I'm glad this came up because I overheard you tell the students that they can call you Miss Sarah, and my son referred to you, and my son refers to you as that at home. So where my confusion is coming from, she replies, with parents, I prefer to be called Dr. Smith. And then she steamrolled on until it was time to go. All right, I do have some comments here. We'll finish this letter. Now, I feel certain she's just power tripping here. I don't want to feed her ego, nor continuing to create confusion in our household when my kids talk about his teacher, Miss Sarah, and I'm talking about her, Dr. Sarah Smith. Yes, I'm a jerk for thinking, is the doctor really warranted here? we're just dealing with a teacher teaching a bunch of 8-year-olds how to capitalize proper nouns and division. I get that there is more likely more here to degree, more to do her degree than that. And I can put it all aside when it comes to being respectful and honoring people's wishes. However, all of this had made me feel like I was just referring to her generally from here on out. So, folks, am I missing out on some cultural norm here? Am I the jerk here for not wanting to call her Dr. Smith and feeling like she's being egotistical? Okay. It might actually surprise you, but I actually have a PhD, and I have most people refer to me as Brian because I feel like that's the appropriate title. Now, here's where you went wrong. She introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Smith, and so that was the title that she wanted you to call her by. When you said Miss Sarah or Miss Smith, you undermined her authority. So she earned the degree. She's entitled to use that degree's title whenever she wants. And that's her prerogative. It doesn't matter whether you feel it's egotistical of her or not. She's entitled to use that degree, and she's entitled to have that title and to be referred to as doctor whenever she wants. If I were to suddenly change my mind and want everyone to start calling me doctor, I would say, introduce myself as Dr. Toner. And then people would say, oh, hi, Dr. Toner. And this isn't necessarily about her ego. This is about what she feels comfortable with. And if she feels that she's had a lot of parents in the past who disregarded what her opinion was or disregarded how she was running her classes, she might feel like having the doctor in front of her name reminds the parents who's in charge here. So yeah, I think you're really rude here. And again, there is no confusion. She says that she wants her kids to call her one thing and the parents to call her another thing. You're an adult. You can figure this out. So just go ahead, figure it out, and just call her Dr. Smith from now on. Don't undermine her, and everything will be fine. And when you say, oh, she steamrolled ahead, well, that's probably just how she is. She's probably just down to business and wanting to get things done, wanting to cover the agenda. So I think that you're being overly sensitive here, and if she wants to be called Dr. Smith by you, then call her Dr. Smith. Our next letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk If I Told a Guy His Wife Comments on Other Women's Photos? Yes. Wow. Okay. You guys are pretty good at giving honest advice and criticism. So I have this friend, and she posts selfies, as we all do, and it's literally every single one. There's this guy that just comments on a single emoji, such as heart eyes, heart, and then kissy face. This guy is married, and I feel like he's being a d-bag towards his wife for this weird obsession with my friend. My friend says it's harmless, but if that was my husband, then I would feel a little bit insecure. Will I be a jerk if I messaged her and said, by the way, your husband does this? Just FYI, I haven't said anything to the wife, but I did say to my friend that perhaps she should say something, and considering he's married. Okay, I mean, I understand where you're coming from here, and I think you're actually coming from a place of trying to be helpful, and maybe you're not a jerk in that respect, and I think maybe I was a little overreacting. It is a little bit of an odd emoji combination to put down for someone who is married. But it depends, I guess, on what the relationship between your friend and this guy is. And I, again, think that you probably just should mind your own business here. And these are just emojis, these are just messages, and you don't know the dynamics between his wife and him and their relationship. And so butting in here could be more harm than good. He's not outright hitting on her. And even if he was, I don't know if you know their dynamics well enough to know if that's acceptable inside the relationship, because not everyone has a monogamous relationship. So, yeah. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for banning a friend due to her disease? My wife shared with me that her childhood best friend has herpes. Not sure how, unless you're having a adult only party, this is already starting to not sound so good. And I'm guessing, since this isn't labeled as not safe for work, that's probably not the case. Not sure how she got it, and she isn't known to be a promiscuous person, and I'm just surprised and mad. What? You're mad at a friend for something, the condition that they have? This woman has stayed the night at our house many nights. Oh my goodness, person. Used our bathroom, shower, and our towels. What do you think this is? Do you think you're just gonna randomly catch it from these things? My wife thinks her friend brings her own bath towels, but I can't say for sure. We have small children, as does her friend. I feel like I'm protecting my kids. I told my wife that her friend could no longer stay at our house and needed to pay for a hotel room from now on. And then I told a close relative, who told everybody. My wife is super mad at me. Me, not so much. Her best friend disappeared from all social media and now won't answer my wife's calls. I do feel some guilt. Her friend isn't a bad gal. Am I the jerk? Yes. Yes, you are. Oh my goodness. All right. I just wanted to look this up real quick. From the CDC, it's directly from the CDC here. You will not get herpes from toilet seats, bedding, swimming pools, or from touching objects around you, such as silverware, soap, or towels. You have nothing to worry about. You blew this out of proportion. You should have looked up this information. It took me literally 2 seconds to validate your claim here that this might be harmful for your children. It's not going to be harmful. It isn't a bad thing. You know, she has a virus. That doesn't mean she should be shunned and, exiled from your home. You destroyed a great friendship, it sounds like. A close friendship where people, where they spent the day at your house or even the night at your house. And then you also, it made her embarrassed and caused her to have to leave social media. This is a horrible situation. This is a terrible thing. You're a huge jerk here, and you need to find a way to apologize, and to apologize groveling. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not wanting to help my wife with our child after they have gone to bed? Yes. Yes, you are. But let's find out. Maybe there's more to this story. So long story short, my wife and I share the responsibility of parenting equally throughout the day. After we put our children to bed, that's my signal that I can play video games and my wife will be okay with it, which she is. The issue lies in the fact that the games I like to play are online, and thus I'm in the middle of one and there's no pausing the game. Now, when our child wakes up in the middle of the night, she berates me for not stopping what I'm doing immediately and helping her. I have absolutely zero qualms with helping her after I finish the game I'm in. It doesn't seem fair to me to let my teammates down when I'm not going to be much help to my wife regardless. I always immediately say I'll help you as soon as this game is over. Cue the meltdown from my wife. So am I a jerk? Lots of edits here. Edit, for clarity, I work in an incredibly stressful occupation most days of the week while my wife stays at home with the children. Once I come home, I still help with the children until they go to sleep. I then retreat to play video games. They're what keep me sane. My wife gets her free time during the day and on the weekends as she does what she pleases. This is why she's okay with me playing video games at night. Also, my child is not an infant. When it's my turn to watch our child individually, never have had to call my wife and request her to come to assist me. I know what requires the aid of two parents. If my child genuinely needs both of us while I was playing, I would not hesitate to help. Oh my goodness. There's a wall of edits here. I'm just going to summarize some of these. I'm going to read over these real quick because there's a lot of edits, and I don't think everyone wants to read every single one of these edits here. To summarize here, they have a 3-year-old child, and the 3-year-old child sometimes wakes up in the night and sometimes needs help. I don't know the extent of it. I don't know if the child has a medical condition or what exactly. So let's try to be fair here, and I'm going to say that you're probably not entirely a jerk here, and I guess it depends on how long one of these games lasts. If your wife needs your help and you're taking an hour to go and help her, then yeah, you're probably a jerk. If your wife needs your help and it takes, 2 or 3 minutes, then that's a different matter and she can wait 2 or 3 minutes. There's a lot of gray area here. I would say that you two should sit down and talk about this issue. I think that you two have some kind of communications trouble. And I think that you two kind of need to work out whether or how you want to handle these kinds of situations. There has to be a little more to the story than what we're hearing, so it's really hard to make a snap judgment about whether you're a jerk or not, but I would definitely sit down with your wife. I would definitely discuss this with them, and, it seems like you two are having a lot of issues and a lot of confrontations here, so it might be a good idea to consider doing some kind of marriage counseling or therapy. Our next letter is titled, Will I be a jerk if I ask my upstairs neighbor to stop walking around? Title sounds bad, I know. Long-time lurker, first-time poster, and you already got a bad judgment. I'm a 28-year-old female, and I live on the first floor of a 2-story apartment building. A couple moved in upstairs about a month ago. I realized that I must have had the best neighbors ever before them because basically, suddenly, I can hear everything that goes on in this apartment. The dog's nails on the hardwood, voices, dog toys, droppings on the floors, the guitar playing. That's all fine, but what really drives me crazy is that this man is a pacer. He'll talk on the phone for hours and pace back and forth. I can hear every footsteps he makes, and the floorboards creak, and the dishes in the cabinets rattle. I'm really losing it. I live in an area where cases are bad, and we are encouraged to stay at home as much as possible, so I'm working from home. I wear noise-canceling headphones, but they are uncomfortable to wear for the full day. Will I be a jerk if I ask him to stop walking around so much, or at least be a little quieter? My partner says that they'd never ask someone to be quiet if this isn't nighttime, and I'd be a jerk if I said something. I realize that he's perfectly within his rights to pace around during the daytime hours outside of quiet hours, but I am slowly losing my mind. If you did ask him, you would be a jerk. And unfortunately, this is a bad situation for you. I would just consider getting some more comfortable noise-canceling headphones if it's bothering you that much, or get some earplugs or something like that that's going to help you. One thing I would suggest, buy a fan, and a fan can really help to block out some of those noises. I know it sounds strange, but if you put a fan on high, it actually has a really good ability to wash out sounds. So that would be kind of my suggestion here. And I feel bad that you are losing your mind here, but again, I wouldn't suggest asking this person to stop walking around and pacing. They're just trying to live their life, and they're not trying to be disruptive to you. And it's a sad situation that, you're facing as well. So good luck. Will I be a jerk if I start to do more makeup and art? I know that sounds weird, but I'm going to give some context. My sister and I are both 17 and are different people. I do very well academically and pretty much anything school related, and she's more into art and makeup. Now, back when we were both younger, our parents used to get very irritated with her at her grades, which were average, if not a bit lower. They would sit there and compare our grades and make her feel bad. At the same time, we were both getting into art, but I ended up dropping out of it. I dropped out so she would have something that makes her more unique and something that wouldn't make it feel like a competition. I also didn't get into makeup so she and my mom, step-siblings, would have something to bond over. I now get made fun of by both of them for not knowing how to do my own hair or makeup at 17. I just wanted them to have something to do together. Now, over the years, I've been wanting to get back into art. I really like ceramics, but anytime I brought a piece home, my sister would mock it, saying it wasn't good. I know she has more experience, but that's in painting and drawing. Ever since, I've just stayed away from it since she started ceramics. But here's the question, would I be a jerk if I started doing these things? I don't want to make her do something that she doesn't feel special, but I'm sick and tired of holding myself back for happiness of others. Okay. This one was a little different than I was expecting. No, you wouldn't be a jerk, and I'm not really sure why Reddit has labeled this as such. No, if you want to do hair and makeup, do it. You should. And your sister and mom, who are making fun of you for not knowing how to do your hair and makeup, are jerks here. This is a bad situation for you. I don't really feel like you are a jerk here. I think you're being unfairly maligned by Reddit. If this is something that makes her feel special and unique, that's fine. But, art is inherently human, and we all need to be able to express ourselves artistically. And I think that you should express yourself artistically and have that art. And if you have that artistic drive and you have that artistic spark, then go for it. Do the ceramics and do them well. It's going to take you some time to learn. It's going to take you some time to, get into this art form, but do it. And don't worry about what your sister has to say. She might be making fun of your ceramics because she's afraid that if you get good at ceramics, then it's going to be just another thing for people to compare you to her for. Now, and I think that while it's not your fault that your parents kept comparing you to, that is something that has left a huge impact on her. So you do have to keep that in mind, and while you go forward. There's lots of people who you can show your art to. You don't have to show your art to your sister, and you don't have to show it to your parents or your family. I would suggest getting involved with some online communities and doing your art and displaying it there, maybe even building like an Instagram page to kind of track your art and your progress. So, no, I don't think you're a jerk, and I wish you the best of luck in your artistic endeavors. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for messing with my mother-in-law's phone? My in-laws have a family friend, and it's extremely obvious to my mother-in-law that she is having an affair with him. Father-in-law is totally oblivious, but my husband has suspected it for years. My in-laws don't like each other very much, but she would never leave because she likes the money. I work in IT support, and the other day she asked me to fix her phone. Oh, don't tell me you did this. While I was working on it, she got a text from the friend, nothing too sordid. It just said, "Miss you. Can I take you to dinner?" I got an idea and switched his contact with my father-in-laws in general. Yeah, this makes you a sleazebag. In general, she has a mean sense of humor, and I could see her laughing, but also screw cheaters. Well, I don't know what she texted him, but she got all dressed up. She thought she was meeting the guy, but she ended up meeting with her husband. She called me a bee and said that I was jealous of her, and said my husband is probably cheating because I let myself go, but my husband is on my side and thinks it was funny. You shouldn't mess with people's phones. If she's cheating, then, she's cheating, and that's despicable. As a person who repairs technology, you have a responsibility to repair people's technology and to not investigate any of their files, not investigate their contacts, and not look into anything on their phones. So my advice to your mother-in-law would be to, if not, utilize you in the future as someone to repair technology, because you clearly could not resist the temptation to look into her private information. I think that while she is not a good person, and while she is a jerk clearly here, and if she's cheating on her husband, that you went too far and you were in a position of power and trust, and then this went beyond just a simple joke and a simple laugh. So that's kind of what my opinion is on this. So sorry, I'm going to say you're a jerk. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. And I'll see you all later. Take care. Bye.